Hey, what's up, people in the airwebs? I am Maddie, otherwise known as Diamond Fruit. But if you didn't know that, then you have a lot of catching up to do. And maybe improve your reading. So, a little over a year ago, in this wonderful world we live in, Ubisoft released Just Dance 2024 edition, along with its story mode titled Dance with the Swan, and it made everything so much better. Okay, that was a complete and total lie. The ending broke me deeply. Could you excuse me a moment? Great, thanks. Why? I'm okay. Maybe. Dance with the Swan with its continuation of Enter the Dance Verses. You can check out my previous video on the channel. Yeah. Get comfortable. I'm just gonna say right now, there aren't really any moments between Jack and Breziana this time around. But, there's quite a few for Sarah on Wanderlust, but just my heart need to see them being adorable. I will clarify again, these are all my opinions and observations. Anyway, let's get this started. It all begins with canned heat. Some mysterious figure is wearing the traveler's cloak and summon Disco Ball. They remove the cloak, revealing it to be Wanderlust, and way to just leave your dad's stuff laying around, man. Then Wanderlust is seen dancing through the Space-Time Hotel and the lobby with Disco Ball and saying hi to his friends, saying hi to Breziana, then Mihai, then Sarah, then finally Jack Rose through portals. But when Sarah appears, the background changes for a split second from Sarah's home in the human world to part of Night Swan's lair. Pretty sus if you ask me, but we already know what's coming. But what's different is that Wanderlust seems way more smiley when Sarah shows up. Wink, wink. But towards the end, Wanderlust sends Disco Ball over to Sarah again through the portal. I kept thinking maybe he missed her. But it's actually revealed to be Night Swan in disguise. She takes Disco Ball and leaves Wanderlust completely shocked, but the look on his face had me thinking, seriously, what the heck, man? Just a little thing I'd like to point out, if you pause really fast just as Wanderlust sends Disco Ball over to fake Sarah, its expression changes to sad or scared face before being sent through the portal. That just proves that Disco Ball knew that wasn't really Sarah, but couldn't warn Wanderlust in time. Tiny hiccup, excuse me. The map ends with Night Swan using her powers to turn Disco Ball into an evil version of itself. And, which also seems to increase Night Swan's power. Little evil Disco Ball is so dang cute, though. I kept imagining that they're probably trying to bite everybody, but not having any teeth, so it comes off as more adorable. In the next map for You Should See Me in a Crown, we see the real Sarah having a fun time with her friends on Earth when... Oh, would you look at that right there? She selected Wanderlust as her player avatar. Indeed interesting. And Sarah's happy to see her little buddy, but her expression changes as she notices something's off with it. And before she can notice, that's revealed to be Night Swan, pretending to be Wanderlust, who pulls her back into the dance forcefully. So, that's bad. Sarah is visibly confused and looks pretty uncomfortable around Night Swan, and for good reason. But she attempts to put up a brave face since her friends aren't there to help her out of the situation. Night Swan uses her power to transform Sarah into an evil version of herself and dances alongside her. Her evil look is very fabulous and all, but I much prefer the real and cutesy her. Cute. Sarah continuously switches back and forth from her normal look and evil look. I felt like Night Swan in her larger form is meant to show Sarah like being possessed in a way. or like puppeteered by her, even when she's not in her evil form. Towards the end of the map, Sarah can be seen shaking her head while a bunch of Night Swans surrounding her and whispering their evil messages, showing that she's attempting to resist, but it's getting harder. My poor girl. The map ends with Wanderlust seeing all this happening to Sarah from the other side of the portal, but unable to do anything to stop it. At some points throughout the dance, Sarah and her regular look can be seen smiling directly at the camera. I thought this was just her breaking the fourth wall at first, but it's later revealed to be Wanderlust watching all that go down at the end. But I thought maybe she could actually see him through the portal and was smiling at him. And come on, people. I'm serious right now. Just wake up and smell the romance. Then in the next map, stronger. Blah. Braziana is seen on a beach instructing a bunch of exercise, like an exercise class of some sort. While Night Swan appears, attempts to use her power and turn everyone into Swan soldiers. They change back and forth between their normal looks and Swan soldiers, but are able to fight against it thanks to Braziana and her strength, combined with big heart, and just general cuteness. But here, they aren't even safe from Night Swan in the bathroom? Jeez. We all know that's a joke. The map ends with Wanderlust opening a portal, signaling for her to come help save Sarah, to which she agrees. Again, like when I mentioned the one for physical, yeah, there's really not much to decipher, and there should be a lot more on Braziana. I feel like knowing more about her would be pretty dang cool for a continuation. In the next map, Never Be Like You, it opens to Mihai tearing down a poster of Night Swan in their room. But why does Mihai even have a poster of Night Swan, you may be asking? On October 10th, before Just Dance 2024's release, Night Swan took over the official Just Dance Twitter and was replying to questions and just being like kind of a mood when like replying to people. But at some point, Night Swan posted this image of Mihai and said this: "I see your mind, Mihai. I see great potential. You used to idolize me and now you chase the flow. You just follow my path. We'll see how far that gets you." If you go back to Rather Be, Mihai does show hesitation when they're first brought onto the team. Apparently, Mihai used to idolize Night Swan for her dancing, but after seeing for themselves how evil she really was, they were all like, nope, unfollow. There's a really good theory video on Mihai and more about them by Ray of Sunshine that I can leave a link to in the description below. And more on this that I can touch in a future video. During the end of the map, Mihai eventually gets a panda transformation. That's because in Rather Be, they were training with Master Panda and learning the ways of the flow. But now that Mihai has changed into a panda, that shows that the student is now the master. Well, that was my opinion. Mihai has become one with the flow and the energy of the panda. Toward the end of the map, catch a glimpse of Night Swan spying and doing her evil works. Mihai has become one with the flow and energy of the panda, but yeah, Night Swan's spying is trying to corrupt them. And you can tell by the expression on Mihai's face that it's becoming increasingly difficult to stay in tune with the flow and push away the evil energy surrounding them. They change back to their original form, return to their room, and Wanderlust opens the portal. It's like, come on, come help us, and yet they agree. Then in the next map for Treasure, we see Jack walking around his home in Swan Tower. Wanderlust tries to get his attention, but Night Swan pushes it away so he can't hear him. You can hear a little echo if you turn up the volume loud enough. Just be careful not to blare your eardrums out. Night Swan then puts some kind of enchantment on the water so in the location he's in as a distraction. He sees an alternate version of himself. It looks mostly the same except different hair and feathers. This is a version of Jack that more resembles his mother and looks more like a version of him that he wanted her son to be. If you look at this background, you can see Jack and dancing in what I believe looks like the inside of a birdcage, showing she wants him to be happy where he is, as a prisoner in his own home, and continuing to be submissive to her. This reflection of Jack is then seen dancing in front of an entire audience filled with Jack, and we have to remember, this is what Night Swan thinks her son wants. Jack does have an already massive ego, and if you go back to Lock Out of Heaven, I believe he is performing for fans to make others happy and to share, like, what he really wants to do. A little detail I'd like to point out is, and I paid extra close attention to some of the lyrics in Treasure, and I kept believing this is Night Swan saying, if you come back to me, I will give you everything you could ever want and treasure you forever. But what really stuck out to me is this particular lyric. But you walk around here like we want to be someone else. I believe this is Night Swan saying that the good version of you isn't who you really are, and I know you better than anyone else. But towards the end of the map, in the background, instead of Swan Tower, it's now a tower built to resemble Jack Rose. This is Night Swan saying, this could all be yours one day. Then the map ends with it zooming out, Jack watching the whole thing, and he's just like, nah, I don't want that, Mom. Then in Swan Lake, they all join together to confront Night Swan. I kept thinking that they did want to wait for Jack, but but couldn't wait too long, and they wanted to do something. They go to confront her, but Night Swan flies away. She's all, yeet, I'm out. Sarah's happy to see her friends and reaches out to them, but is pulled away by the evil energy. I honestly spent way too long trying to figure out where her arm was reaching out to in that particular moment, because I was desperately hoping she was reaching towards Wanderlust, because those two literally own my entire heart and soul. I'd like to believe she is. I know she cares about all of her friends, but she's gotta. Wanderlust, Braziana, and Mihai all follow her inside the strange location, but the evil power surrounds them as well. And honestly, it makes my heart so happy that Sarah like that Wanderlust first. Sarah then reverts back to her evil form and becomes increasingly difficult for Wanderlust to fight against her. And none of them want to be going up against their friend. And eventually, evil Sarah gets full control. Wanderlust loses his color, showing that he's weakened significantly. And the same thing happens to Braziana when she attempts to dance against evil Sarah. And as Mihai is the only one left, they change into their panda form, which does give them more strength. Sarah is pushed back a bit, and eventually they change back into their original form. Just as they're about to turn gray as well, they use what little power they have left to send out a message to Jack to show him what's happening. The map ends with Jack witnessing all of his friends turn into evil versions of themselves. It breaks me to think what must have been going through my child's mind in a moment. Just something I'd like to point out at first is the reason I believe they beat Night Swan the first time in Majesty is because they were dancing together when freeing captured Swan soldiers. But because Night Swan's evil energy was keeping them apart, they had to dance against her one at a time, making them much weaker. And the fact that they didn't want to go against her as their friend says a lot. I could say the secret to beating her is quite literally the power of friendship, but that just sounds cheesy. This isn't My Little Pony. Then in the last song, Tainted Love, they're all dancing together in their evil forms on Night Swan's ship, and she's just in the back smiling wickedly, happy that her plan is working. Wahahaha. Disco Ball showing a larger image of Evil Sarah. It was my belief that Night Swan was already playing favorites and being very selective towards Evil Sarah. I'll get into my reasoning for that in the next video. Or in a future video. The map ends with the Swan ship sailing away as Jack arrives just a second too late. And he watches his friends are stolen from him and his mother leaves him behind and notice how his eyes are a little reddier. And Jack was canonically crying, and that really breaks my heart. Why they gotta hurt my baby like that? Yeah, I'm okay. And that's it. That's seriously how it ends. I wish I was kidding. I deeply wish I was kidding. And that's my slideshow on why I've been complaining so much over the past year. Thanks so much for listening to my TED Talk. Just kidding, like, I don't know why I think any of my jokes are funny. But in the next video, I'll be discussing the events of Night Swan, the prequel, theories, and just where I think things could go after this. I'll try not to complain too much about how frustrated I was that 2025 didn't have a direct continuation. But I know it will continue, otherwise we wouldn't have gotten the dance for In Your Eyes. But I'll be sure to put in a major spoiler warning for that video. Thanks for watching. Check out my social medias down below, and peace out. I'm gonna go and scream in a corner for a while. Okay, bye.